We are a tribe of 3, 6, 9. So tribe of 9, we're into some completions as we've arrived here, which is awesome. And we have some action-packed, more meditation today than normal. And I would say meditation, but more like guided meditation activations. And it's really powerful because it's kicking off the summer of that type of experience. More sessions, if you know, for the reason is to receive the downloads of our higher intelligence, giving within instructions in our meditations always, but to be able, we're doing a lot of regression here and hypnosis regression, mixture sessions called higher self therapy. You could do QHT, you could just be guided. You know how to do that for yourself, self-hypnosis, self-regression, as well as when we're doing it together, Spirit's talking a lot about, because the light wants to be held stronger and it needs the understanding of the information that needs to be brought forward so you can hold more light and more understanding for those experiences to happen. And although it may come really good with you doing it on yourself, I find when I'm doing it on myself, if I take a walk or if I just really talk out loud and do communicating, that I get a lot more sometimes. And that also can go with pairing up in a session. Having someone talk to you may help you go deeper and get more information. So when I say the blue beings, I'm mainly talking about waves of packets of consciousness. And they've come in as Andromedan, Arcturian, Sirian, Palladian, Lyran, collective groups. And blue avians have come here recently. But when we're looking at that and we're looking at these constellation and star tribe beyond what we would consider feet on the ground here, the star seeds are here to seed the consciousness that we've held, maybe hid, no longer hiding, held within ourselves to now come undone and come open. So our pure with DNA, so the reclamation of the purity of our full 24 strands and beyond DNA is being asked upon us to start activating that. And the reason it wouldn't be activated is because there's a wound that hasn't been understood, and it's wound up on the DNA, holding it in a place. And so when you get understanding and it literally unfurls and unwinds off the DNA, then the telomeres lengthen and everything opens back up, and then the multidimensionality opens up of the multiple strands of DNA. So where you have 2 double helix, you get the download up one of the rings of the ladder about some, past incarnation or parallel incarnation, and you understand it. Can I give this? Yeah, like the one I did this morning was, or it's been like a couple days of nonstop of this, I was like, I could tell certain people when they see me, they'll get like, oh, there she is. And I'm like, what is that? I'm like, is there like a version of me that's really ugly and like, kind of mean and scary? And I said, just show me who I am in that reality, that parallel. And they did. And I had these like really gargantuous, like monster feet. And just, there's no ugly, but you know what I mean? It was just this energy of like, oh gosh. And I said, okay, well, I'm ready. I'm done with that. Can we go ahead and merge that version of me all the way back into my heart? Can I fully embrace that version of me and just make room for her or him or it, make room? And then it merged back in, and I said, now show me what I can now be seen as. And I've seen myself as this before, and it's very like white and crystalline and just like this beautiful tower of selenite kind of energy. And I'm like, yes, that's what I want to embody. But rather than, peace, love, doving it and like kind of getting a glimpse and just going, everybody loves me, whatever that is, I clear, cancel, delete it. instead I took a moment to go deeper and be with her so that it could fully unwind. And I'm sure I got more information than just that, but the visual is what I felt like I wanted to share with you all. So once that's fully embraced, again, then the unwinding takes place. Then the unfurling of the multidimensionality of the DNA strands open, meaning from 2 go to 4, 6, 8, 10, 10, 12. And why? Right? Because the frequency rises. Because there's not a dense anchor of like misunderstanding or a version of you that's holding it down because you're not looking at it. Soon as you go to understand it, it can all open up and unwind. And so the new coming of who we really are as these higher dimensional beings, whether it's you or like a collective, like a team that's coming through, meaning when I was channeling the blue beings, I said, they were like, we are you are blue. Remember, we named you blue years ago, and you are one of us, you are one, but we are many. And so you all are coming in, you're blue, which is ethereal, ether. Your ether wave self is coming in to make landing, to hold ether. So if we're holding ether, we're sitting in a vessel that's singular, like a column. Well, that's like a big antenna that holds open the ether from column to column to column to column to column to all those who are willing to stand tall in neutrality. Then we hold open the Ethernet, then we truly become the internet, and then telepathy comes really strongly back online. It already is for a lot of us, but I mean, really. And I'll make note that if there's a collective record unwinding itself, then you may catch wind of the collective record, and it may feel very visceral in your own, like, I'll speak again to a personal thing, that working with groups, which we are, here we are, a group record upon many, it was very layered, opened up in the center the past 2 weeks. And if you might have got wind of some like really low thoughts, anybody? Several of us. It could have felt like really personal. And you could ask, is this mine? Yes. Which it is, because it's all as self. But then you may start to like unlayer it and find that the group is going through something. And what I had to do was look up my central channel. If I'm down here, look up my central channel and find places where I was, maybe be like this. I was cross-channeling with others. And I was hearing their thoughts as my own. And so, again, it's like there's this fine line of all is one and all is self, to sometimes you need to pare it down so that you can make sense of just what you're hearing and pull it back up so that each within the group is hearing their own individual consciousness. But it's a learning experience through all of it. And it's beautiful because all of it will then help you So, welcome. So there was a lot of unwinding my central channel so that I wasn't hearing everybody's thoughts. But yet, once I could then hear my own thoughts, then I could make better sense of what was going on, right? Because everything's biofeedbacking, showing what's present, but obviously what's present has way, depth than some other conception point record that wanted to be looked at. And for this case, it was many, having to do with working with groups and organizations coming together. So I just want you to be aware of that. Like just checking your channel up high and being like mystical, magical about it. Meaning today when we're going to do a longer journey and meditation, if your light body starts flying around and cleaning your own top of your channel, like great. If you see star beings helping you, other versions of us start helping clean things up, or you just all of a sudden are doing backflips, and like stretching yourself, like that's really important to allow your imagination to do all those types of things. And you could, for me, I'll speak to myself, when that's happening, I let it happen, and then I can gather understanding, like, wow, what did that do? Or it might like come in the same time, this understanding of what's happening. Like I just did one with Jana just now before you guys got here. And, you know, I was like cartwheeling out of my body and then like stretching to allow for, can I say that? Yeah. They showed me a scene of like when there was all these sacrifices going on in churches, and they had to build ravines outside the churches because of how much blood was pouring out from all the daily sacrifice, one after the other, all the people bringing the lambs, and it was just like intense. And that had to be healed in my body. It was like my spleen. I woke up, it was so achy this morning. I'm like, what is happening? And so that was part of what was cleaning up of, again, the empathy usually is held in the spleen, or the lack thereof, or too much. And I was calling upon my cat who disappeared this rising. I was like, because he's been gone for like 2 months. And I'm like, let him be free now. And I was being very like fierce, you know, like I'm commanding him back. Not necessarily in the physical, but etherical, like whatever's going on. So I just bring these few examples because when we do our session today, like anything goes. You know, you're just looking for the wound up wound on the DNA so that it can unfurl. And you're safe to see these things so that you can get your body back. Like my spleen feels amazing now. You know, it just took a few little adjustments, and what would have took weeks, you know, if I didn't deal with it and like be dragging around, or months. You guys saw what I dealt with the shoulder thing. I mean, just taking the time to go at it in these ways of ethereal. This is the power of us working ethereally in our bigger light body with a team of light, with the blue beings, if they're calling themselves the blue beings, because it's that ethereal presence through the stargates that's holding these key code information that unlocks the body. So now we'll get to the main topic today. So today, what I wanted us to do is kind of a continuation of last week. If you weren't here last week, we looked at how the body, if you were laying down, so today when we do our meditation, if you can lay in your chair, great. If not, I was hoping that a lot of you, if you can lay on the floor, we can pad you up or use the massage tables. Just, they told me not to use the Therify one, so I'm honoring that. So if you're laying down and you're underneath the dome and you're looking at this side of the dome with the Aries constellation all the way to the Pisces. What's the 13th one called again?
Ophiuchus.
Ophiuchus.
Thank you. I can never say it right.
Say
OPH.
Okay, we'll just put OPH.
As far as I get. I'm
okay.
Like,
so, and would Ophiuchus be here or here, do you think? Do we know?
It's actually within Scorpio.
It's within Scorpio?
Yeah, so it's Scorpio, then the word, and then Sag.
So where would it be up here?
So where did you start?
Probably at like 7, isn't that Scorpio?
Scorpio's
Libra 8. Yeah.
Yeah, so
So
like.
Can you start writing these while I keep going? Okay.
Please.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So, and just, you know, what's cool about this is that each of these birth signs are, if you draw an arrow down to the body, that's where it affects the body. Like it's literally got a configuration assistant, like a docking in station to the body from head to toe, Aries to Pisces. So if you know, spleen, I could say, you know, one of these midlines were probably connected to what was going on. And it doesn't have to be where you get that kind of download. And maybe it does today when we're doing the assignment. But what was being shown is that to do more of this connection with the stars, with the body, to get it docked in so that you can then go through stargates much easier and access your light body through the stargates and fly around with more purpose and understanding of who you are beyond this incarnation that we find ourselves in. And specifically to look at the King's Chamber in the Great Pyramid and understand that, have any of you had a desire to go to the pyramids, or maybe you already have?
I have.
Yeah. Did you go into
Oh, yes.
King's
They
Chamber?
went with a Coptic group, so they got into everything. It
Sweet.
was wonderful. Yeah.
And that desire, maybe for some of you, it is for me, but what Spirit was telling me at Honeymoon yesterday was that we really need you to get on it with these radical healings at the center and longer intensives with the star constellations and utilizing the King's Chamber and reminding each other and myself mainly, that you don't have to go there. You're going to go here ethereally, and that the center is set up as a Stargate, and it needs to go back to full capacity the way it has been in the past. And so I was like, okay, what do you want us to do? And they said, you need to understand that your heart chamber, 2 to 1, like a rectangle, is the plate in the middle, the sarcophagus that was moved and put back. And if you think about our heart, wouldn't you think the heart muscle would be right in the middle? We've talked about this, but it's over to the left. And so they were showing it's the same thing of the Great Pyramid. It got moved over to the left, and it needs to come back to middle. Just a side note.
There's been study that our organs have shifted and the heart is actually more towards the center now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
now it is. Right, exactly. It got moved back. Yeah.
So energetically, we're moving it in
Yeah.
alignment with our chakras.
And the star children being born have it in midline as well as monobrain again. So not 2 hemispheres, but whole hemisphere thinking. So that's really cool. But coming back, so the King's Chamber, that is, so many of the maps that Da Vinci drew, or the decoding that if you look at Leonardo da Vinci's paintings, are showing us the power of all the same ratios of geometry that the pyramids have, and really essentially everything in this place we find ourselves. We can kind of start mapping it out and see how it's all kind of overlaid in the same. But when we're looking at the Great Pyramid and we're looking at the King's Chamber, it's like that heart space, and that we can access all 12 of the stargates inside that Great Pyramid, in the King's Chamber especially. So they were showing that all the constellations are on the King's Chamber's walls, and that beyond just the 13, but going all the way to the deacons, to the 48 constellations, are on the King's Chamber walls. And the research that was reminding me about this is Robert Edward Grant, who goes over there quite frequently and did a lot of really great polymath, simplifying our math so it makes it fun again. But he was able to find all the constellations in the King's Chamber. So he actually, I searched for this, I couldn't find it yet. I emailed him. He made a app that you can actually put on Oculus glasses. He says you don't have to use them. You can use just even an iPad, and you download the app. It's called Maya, but it's not up yet. So maybe he's like developing it. Have you seen it?
I don't think it's up yet.
Okay.
Not when I looked.
So it will be able, so that you can actually see, we would hold it up in here and we could see all the constellations in any room you're at. So you could kind of be there. So that's what we're going to do for today's meditation. What do y'all think? So we would do this because we want to turn on this technology, this amazing body technology, so that we can travel more freely with our light body, to meet with our brothers and sisters, our star tribe family, to get more accelerated understandings or activations of the DNA. And again, like I said before, you're safe. You're always safe. For me, it's like, can I say this? Yeah. Even to feel like I'm not safe, or to tell someone be safe, means that I'm creating a possibility of them not being safe. So for me, the clear, crystal clear, kind of comes back to a wave, where if I could just be a wave again and be pure love, then, and I know that this is all me, that's why I love all is self, then there's nothing to be worrisome about. Only thing to fear is fear itself. So it's just like, okay, if you get fearful, like, wow, there's a huge packet of wound up information on my DNA that will come undone. There's a huge packet of fascia that will open up. You know, there's a huge part of my aura that will fill out. That was a lot of things that also started happening today when I was doing all these activations, that, you know, my aura was like filling out in such magical ways. So it's just such a beautiful opportunity. How was anyone have any cool dreams about this topic last night? Other than this morning, again, it was a rampage of like, what's going on? You know, like doors closed. What's happening? And just any inappropriate, you know, I was calling out like parasite consciousness. I was using Kate Doldum's Healing Remembered app. Powerful. It's an entity release app. I highly suggest if you ever get called to her app. It's called Easy Entity Release. And then she evolved it just recently to Healing Remembered. But I was using her app. Spirit like had me on it the past 3 days back to her app, just kind of cleaning things up here at the center and beyond. Okay. So this makes sense, right? So like if you were in, you know, the King's Chamber, you know, obviously it's not necessarily, if I'm just saying, like, if you happen to get these visuals when I guide us through, it might feel like certain walls light up. Maybe not. The other thing was to be aware of, you know, even the Last Supper is the exact map. If you overlay that Last Supper over the King's Chamber, you can see exactly the constellations. It won't be a constellation in the Last Supper, but the meaning, the like the symbology, you can kind of take it apart. And I think Robert Grant probably has some good videos on that. Anything else that you were?
I don't know.
It'll come to you.
Sound.
Yeah, okay. And so during the experience, if it ever feels like you need to sound or tone or move your arms in any way, just realize how powerful you are, even if it seems like you've left your body and you're a light body. Well, you are your light body. And so if it feels like you need to move around, do that. And then afterwards, we'll definitely invite some more sound as we close the circle to allow any additional light language or those pure frequency codes that need to come through sound. I also was guided to use the octahedron, and imagine that the octahedron, which is a diamond shape. So like the octahedron is the platonic solid at your heart. So it's like a diamond let's say you had two pyramids. It's like if they were overlapping, they would separate and create a beautiful diamond, right? Does that make sense? So using the diamond, the octahedron, also I'm going to call that out to be around you and then to ground you into the appropriate place beneath your feet. And so the octahedron, but I will still preface or make a note that says for you to do what you're guided to do. I always want to make sure we leave that open so that you really do what you're guided to do. And I think that was the main instructions that they wanted me to share. And the reason they wanted to ground the octahedron is because we're grounding love and we're anchoring ourselves in love so that when you do fly around, that you're coming back to the body with that anchor. And it may even spin. It was spinning for me this morning, the octahedron, when I was around my body. And they were telling me about how important that is because it brings this is what they said. They said, think about it. Your root is the platonic solid of the cube. And so if you've been grounded in like very firm structure that kept you bound, if you think about, if you turned a cube on its side and stretch it a little bit, it turns into an octahedron. Right? And so they were like, just think about that, how that can lift out anywhere you've been bound and feeling like heavy and dense, to turn those cubes into octahedrons and let them spin so that they can move that density to the air element. And that's where the sounding may want to come in, because your sound will literally carry and open up those older emotions that may. So let's go ahead and go into the experience. So let's just start taking some deep breaths. And know that during this, if you ever need to change your position, trust that, because your comfort is going to help the others in the room. And that may mean that all of a sudden you feel guided to sit up, and that's okay. So as we take deep breaths, we acknowledge that we are here in body. Yet we are the spirit, we are the breath. And as the spirit, the breath that you are, imagine you're breathing up your central channel all the way to the top. And you slightly hold. And then you let go out of your mouth just any sigh, any tension that needs to be relaxed and released. And again, you do that one more time. Just inhale the breath that you are, the breath of life, all the way to the top of the head. Hold. And then when it feels right, just let that go and acknowledge the wings that expand beyond the body. And we are in a non-location temple. The temple that we find ourselves in is a beautiful space that at any time or place we can call upon an energy to open, to assist us for transformation, for radical healing, for a new level of balance, and for your own intention. Let your own intention be known. And then let that go, whatever that intention is, it is done. And this experience is to allow for more understanding. And so as the breath of life continues at your own pace, allow for liquid plasma diamond light to fill the room, coming from all the walls, coming in from the ceiling, liquid, sparkling diamond light, up from the ground, through the floor, pouring into our body, bringing about a new level of lightness, activating our DNA, preparing us for this sacred journey. As this plasma diamond light pours in, notice if it goes to certain areas of your body, and just use your breath to guide it into that area. Trust when you need to use your hand or allow any sacred symbols to come in with that light. And as the walls have poured in the diamond light, we start to reveal that we're actually in the King's Chamber. This sacred chamber that's outer and inner. This beautiful space has all the constellations on the walls. as you look around in a 360 degree, you're able to notice the Pisces. You feel that as you breathe and you acknowledge the Pisces beautiful constellations of light illuminate sacred blue light, blessing your feet to the Aquarius, blessing your lower legs to the Capricorn, bringing about the whole legs illuminating to Sagittarius. As you breathe and allow the hips to be turned on, stargates are opening. To the Ophiuth, to Scorpio, bringing about all the way to the lower regions, an activation, a readiness of your light bodies turning on more and more. To Libra, as you notice the bodies turning on, you may even feel like the room begins to illuminate with the blue sigils, different walls illuminating as Virgo, Leo, all systems go as Cancer turns on, coming up to our heart and our throat at Gemini, and Taurus, our neck, Aries, our sacred head. As you breathe and acknowledge even the others, the deacons, they may show themselves other additional wall areas activate. You're met by one of your beautiful guides. This illuminated guide will assist you on this journey. As you start to lift and your breath deepens, it feels as if even the heart space is opening up the beautiful octahedron. That beautiful diamond begins to expand as the blessing of your guide assists, bringing this beautiful octahedron to assist you all the way around. It expands beyond the heart, getting bigger and bigger and bigger, creating a space of love. As it gets big enough for the whole body, the avatar, to rest in it, it may feel like it's going to go down into the ground so that you're anchored during this journey and know where to return, as well as bringing love into this new space. The guide begins to beckon you. You rise now, rising all the way up through the Stargate 12. This amazing Lyran Stargate opens as you are being ushered through by your guide. Let yourself work with your guide, knowing that you can ask any questions about what needs to be known, what needs to be activated. The understandings that come through will assist you. Allow and breathe. gather the understanding, even if it's not fully coming through, know that you're receiving the light codes. Your team of light, like a sacred circle, has been forming around. Begin to fly through a portal so that you can make a new level of contact with a scene that's going to help you understand something about your sacred intention you began with, a question that's been on your heart. As you go through this portal, remember the team of light is there surrounding. Going through, notice who you are in this scene. Look down at your feet. What are you showing yourself about your feet and who you are in this scene? Are you man? Are you woman? Are you beyond feminine or masculine? Androgynous? What surrounds you? Is there others? What's some of the scenery that's pulling through? Does it seem like you're on Earth or some other place? What is significant about this place? If you need to communicate with your guide or your higher self to better understand, remember you can ask questions and trust the responses. And finally, what is the greater understanding? Why were you brought to this scene? What is the spiritual lesson or growth that needs to be understood so that the DNA can unwind? With that greater understanding, let your team of light do any additional assistance to you, activating and opening your aura. Some of you are getting your avatars worked on by your team of light for this one. Trust and allow your imagination. Breathe in the light codes, the greater understandings, and allow for any upgrades to occur. These upgrades may even be facilitated by your own imagination pushing it through, meaning imagine the upgrade. What would it be? Remember, the upgrade is your intention, so imagine your intention actualized at the highest potential. As we upgrade together, team of light, unite. Let this scene go ahead and be completed. Give it thanks. We now are in the upgrade. In this upgraded state, we are vibrating higher, and we are asked to go back through Stargate 12. Look for a portal. Your guide will help you as you slip on back in, through, coming closer to where we started. As you hover as the light being that you are a sacred being of light. You always have been. This higher embodiment of who you really are is wanting to be fully understood. Some of you refer to this aspect of you as your higher self. From this place, at the top of your channel, acknowledge any additional understandings that higher self wants you to truly take in so that you embody this version now. Higher self, what do I need to know? With these knowings that come through, higher self, what do I need to do at this moment? Is there anything addition that I should do so that there's another level of embodiment? Trust and allow your imagination. As you take this in, your team of light, the blue beings of the Most High, also assist with any additional activations around your avatar, around your light body above the avatar. Work together as a team. Sweeping away, moving anything that needs to be moved, activating anything within the plane that you find yourself and beyond. For those of you who notice in a distance that things need to turn on, remember you don't have to go anywhere. Simply command. As the activations have taken place and will continue on, graceful, easy, establishing a new level of balance and embodiment. Allow your light body to stream back down into the avatar as we continue to work on additional upgrades inside the body. Breathing down into the crown, into the channel, filling out your head and neck and shoulders, down your arms, down the midsection into the legs and feet. We're going to ask that you allow for your Merkaba to be acknowledged. It's been on the whole time, but acknowledge the Merkaba, appropriate rate and spin. Sometimes your spin will kick up a gear to assist you with rising into higher planes of existence. As the awareness of the Merkaba is being shown and you are in this amazing body, give blessings and gratitude to the amazing Crown Energy Center. Thank you, bless you, I am grateful. As you stream in, acknowledging the rainbow of energy centers, thank you, my mind's eye. Thank you, Throat Energy Center. You bring the exact frequency and rate of light to all that assists my throat. Thank you to my Heart Energy Center, to my solar plexus. All the power has been restored and reclaimed. It's easier to be here in this embodied state as my higher self. Thank you to my Sacral Energy Center at the navel. Beautiful, balanced, a new level of grounding as I come to my root. Thank you, the root, as it streams and gives blessings to my knees and feet. I acknowledge that this body is malleable and returns back to its original divine blueprint. I acknowledge that I am multidimensional and that I can now easily move about when needing to travel, to fly, to dance. In these completion breaths of giving gratitude to the physical body and its energy centers, giving blessings even beyond into the subtle bodies, notice your aura left and right, front and back. Notice if it needs to be pushed out in any way or balanced. And then we come back down below the feet. Acknowledge that octahedron that has grounded you in love. As it has grounded in love, acknowledge that if it needs to come back up and get large around you, trusting and allowing the octahedron to do the things that it'll do for you today. Learn about this. Trust that the air that you breathe, the song that you sing, the words that you say are important. And most, the thoughts that you think. If it feels at this time that any sacred sound needs to start to come through you, trust and allow. As the breath, the sound of life, opens the body, let yourself stretch in any way to start to acknowledge that you are indeed in the body. You are embodied. You are ensouled. If you notice that as you move your body, it feels different, trust if it needs to stretch or be brushed with your sacred hands of light. When it feels right, and as it feels right, we'll come up and sit up and do sounding. This sounding may be inner for some of you. If you don't feel that you are to get up yet, trust that. Some of you may feel guided to stay lying down. That's okay. Those of you who are guided to sit up, deepen your breath as we go into ooh at different tones and waves of ooh. Into any O if it feels guided. Always trust if your sound is different. When we move into Ah. Rising up in into E. Om, Om. And then Om all the way to the ground.